Now we see its eye, its sharp front pointed nose. Okay, this is a insectoid that has been turned into a genetically modified organism that is robotic. There, right there, it just shut its eye. Do you see that?
This is the world that you know. The world as it was at the end of the 20th century. It exists now only as part of a neural interactive simulation that we call the Matrix. You've been living in a dream world, Neo. This is the world as it exists today.
They are dismantling the sleeping middle class. More and more people are becoming poor. Their intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness. We have been lulled into a trance. They have made us indifferent to ourselves, to others. We are focused only on our own gain. They are safe as long as they are not discovered. That is their primary method of survival. Keep us asleep, keep us selfish, keep us sedated. We are their cattle. We are being bred for slavery. The revolution.
We have only bits and pieces of information, but what we know for certain is that at some point in the early 21st century, all of mankind was united in celebration. We marveled at our own magnificence as we gave birth to AI.
AI? You mean artificial intelligence?
A singular consciousness that spawned an entire race of machines. We don't know who struck first, us or them, but we know that it was us that scorched the sky.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Eric from The Ancient of Days. I'm glad to be back. Yeah, I had a surgery. I didn't expect that it'd take up that much time. But yeah, I've been pretty sore the last several days. But I definitely need to have the metal taken out of me that was in my neck and in my shoulder from an accident from some years back. But we're all good. We're on the mend. So today we're going to talk about AI, Project Bluebeam in its entirety. Okay, because mostly when people hear the word Project Bluebeam, and that's just a label that we use for the entirety of this technology. Project Bluebeam is far more than the plasma sky and holographic projections. Most people feel that Project Bluebeam is turning the sky into a movie screen, the plasma sky into a holography screen. Well, that's partially true, but really what it is we are within an enclosed system. They sprayed all of these nanoparticulates, the smart dust, Morgellons, aluminum, barium, strontium, and it's now within this enclosed system, kind of like if you had a dusty house, right? A real dusty house, and you went and cleaned it that day, and then you had some company over later on, and then you had that halogen lamp light shining in through the so-called sunlight shining in through one of your windows, and you'd see all this dust floating around. Well, that's because you're within your house, and even though you may have dusted and cleaned up, all that stuff got stirred up and kicked around. There's been so many nights that I go out with my tack light and turn it on, and I can just see these smart dusts and nanofibers and Morgellons just flowing by as if it's like a microscopic snowstorm, and then I can actually record it on my camera. And the reason why they do that is because it's used for a plethora of things. One of is the entirety of this technology. For instance, the behavior modification technology that Brian Coffron discussed, and I thought he explained it excellent, because not only was he an expert, but he also became a victim for speaking out, and he hasn't been heard from since 2018. So if you haven't been on the receiving end of psychotronic weapons, assault frequencies, microwave radiation frequency technology, then when they go ahead and they usher in this Project Bluebeam and this so-called alien invasion, right? When the aliens have always been here. We're the aliens Okay, the fallen race has been here since the beginning of time, but they've been within a higher dimension. They're low density beings, low density vibration beings that have been locked away in a higher dimension than the 3D physical world that we see and perceive. Now, when you get to time, which is also a physical dimension, there's one dimension after that that's called the astral plane. Now, when we go into the astral plane, that is where we go when we sleep. When we sleep and we get into what is delta sleep. It's called rapid eye movement sleep. It's when your eyes go back and forth really fast when you're sleeping, and that's when you dream. If you've known of anybody that's had night terrors, sleep paralysis, encounters with incubus, succubus, things of that sort, you've heard of astral travel. Okay, these are things that take place in another dimension. Now, if you've ever gone to work and then you went to bed that night and you woke up, your alarm goes off at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, you feel like you haven't slept 1 minute. And that's because you actually slept really good all night. You slept really good and you had a full night's rest in delta REM, restorative rapid eye movement sleep. If you're laying there and it feels like you're sort of asleep but not really asleep, you've never really gotten into rapid eye movement sleep or restorative sleep. The dimension of time has actually been manipulated with technology. And with that technology, they have actually altered the dimension of time, and they have intermingled, call it an entanglement, if you will, the fifth density beings, which are the fallen race. Okay, they may reside in a higher vibration plane of existence, but they are low density fallen beings that have been locked away. And now through CERN, through D-Wave, they have brought these entities in, because don't be fooled by thinking that some man that had a super high IQ one day had a brilliant epiphany and was like, whoa, we're going to do this. And then all of a sudden they gave birth to AI. No, not at all, because AI is actually an entity. AI is an entity who is at one with the prince of the power of the air, our adversary, the devil. And it requires consent. It requires other people's consent to build for it. And it presents itself as technology to make our lives better and evolution, and then ultimately through transcendence for those that are on their team. You're either on the side of eternal life and light and the love and saving grace of our Messiah, Yeshua, or you are on the side of the kingdom of darkness. So if you want to be on the side of light and love and the kingdom of our Father, then you're not going to be transcending. The harvest that is happening for our adversary, the devil, right now, is he's harvesting as many people through AI to take into perdition with him for all eternity. So, how are they doing that? Because we're already transhuman. We should know that we live within an enclosed system. Well, what they've done through geoengineering is they sprayed all the nanoparticulates and all that. By breathing those in, they've taken us so far, and now what they need to do is upgrade us into transhuman 2.0, or they don't want us here. So this is not only a eugenics agenda, it's not only a total control AI matrix for the New World Order, it's also to steal your soul and take your soul into perdition for eternity, is what it comes down to. So let's go ahead and take a look at some pictures here before they get deleted on me, because this is only a few that we're going to look at for now. We're going to look more later. First one I want to take a look at here is what's been going on here at my house. Alright, so that didn't last long, guys. I didn't expect it to. But yeah, all the pictures I had up were deleted straight up, just gone. So here's what happened. This picture was taken a couple of nights ago because as you had seen in the previous vids, if you had watched them, that yes, I said that I actually had agents that were here, gang stalkers, more like agents of the state, people from the military-industrial complex, who have been watching me. Now this is from one of those very large trees out in my backyard, and I knew these guys were making a nest out there and traveling all around, and I found out how they were doing it. They actually have pulleys and cables out there. Let's take a look at this here. This is actually pretty high up in the tree. This must be up almost 100 feet high. This here is a pulley system right here. Okay, here's a pulley. You can see you got that round pulley there. And then if we go down a little bit more, you have another one right here. Okay, so we have a pulley, that arrow going there, and then that arrow going there. So you have the pulley there, and here's the rope system going up. Okay. And then here you have the cables threaded. You could see the white cables threaded through these pieces here. All right. So this was a setup that they had out there. And here looks like, I'm speculating, is conduit. Here's that rope that's used for that pulley system. And this here, I'm not sure what this is, but this is definitely some sort of mechanical part that they use in the tree system. You could even see a hole right there, okay? So again, you have a pulley here. You could see the rope going up. Okay, that's one pulley. And then we can go down and you see the other pulley right there. So that's how they're climbing up and down my trees and going all the way across the yards and whatnot. And I wouldn't even be surprised if they've been assassinating my character to my neighbors, because you can't pull something off like this without informing the neighbors around the person that you're surveilling, correct? Well, it just so happens that it seems like they have sort of wrapped up, not completely, at least taken down a lot of this in the last couple of days since I found it all, because clearly they knew I found it. Do I believe that they're gone? No. I feel that they have picked up and moved a lot of things, and they're just surveilling me from another location. I've also documented multiple cameras on my property. Now let's have another look here. This is another one of those pulley systems. As you can see here, as we add a little more contrast, see if the lighting helps better or not here. We're doing this together, guys, because the pictures just keep getting deleted on me. So we'll do it together, no problem. Right here you see a rope coming down. You got a pulley system here. This is high up into the trees again. This isn't like something I could reach even with a 40-foot ladder. This has to be, like I said, maybe 100 feet, maybe not quite 100 feet, roughly around there. But you see how it goes up and it's latched on around this branch of some sort. But then we also have what looks to be other pulleys going all the way up from this one right here. Let's dull it down a little bit, add some contrast, maybe a little color, or a little less color. How's that? There we go, right there. You can see here, and then you have them going all the way up the tree. Okay, so we have people, agents of the state, if you will, looking to harass me. And here it is again, circled. Let's brighten it up a little bit. Okay, there's that pulley system there with the ropes going down. And then you could see on this image, this is the same image actually, you got them going all the way up this massive tree. Now there were clumps of sap everywhere. Clumps of sap. Why were there clumps of sap? Because something was absolutely shredding my trees down to bare wood, where they were so sanded down looking and chopped up. It looked like Danielson had been there and sanded the deck for days on end. This is my tree. Look at this. But what I want you to notice even more is this massive claw coming out that looked to be scraping this tree that almost looks to be broken in half. Isn't that just unbelievable? But what's even more unbelievable is as we go in a little closer here, let's get a look at this guy. The giant mouth, eyeball. Is this the Lovecraftian type being that Dr. Jordy Rose spoke of on many occasions?
Yes, there are these massively intelligent entities out there, but they're not good, they're not evil. They just don't give a shit about you even in the slightest. The same way that you don't care about an ant is the same way they're not going to care about you. And these things that we're summoning into the world now are not demons, they're not evil, but they're more like the Lovecraftian great old ones. There are entities that are not necessarily going to be aligned with what we want. So this transition is really, really massively important for our entire species to navigate. And going back to that thing that Sam Harris was saying, nobody is paying attention. This thing is happening in the background while people bicker about politics and what's going to be in the healthcare plan in the US. And underneath it all is this rising tsunami that, if we're not careful, is going to wipe us all out.
That they wouldn't give a shit about us as much as we don't give a shit about ants. They wouldn't care about us. And then why do we have this down here? What's this guy doing? Is this some other ethereal being? Some other interdimensional being that's merged with technology? Because only something that is AI or has the ability to cloak itself and cloak what it's doing can do this. Because I was able to see the bare trees, that's for sure. I have it on video, but I certainly didn't see this claw. That was something that was very bizarre. And I certainly didn't see this thing's head. Okay? Pretty astonishing if you ask me. You even see the very defined mouth. One eye there, one eye there. And then as you draw it back, you see it has like a giant claw coming down. And this is a tree that is completely wiped out and blown away to pieces. Now let's look at another image right here. Because as I said, then after they started tearing apart all the bark and everything off my trees, then all of this sap, now this is slightly enhanced, or maybe a little more than slightly, but it's enhanced. This was a chunk of sap. But you see, look here above the sap, this is more proof that, because this was way up, this had to be 50 to 75 feet high. Look at these nails here. What are they doing? Okay, and what is this bright thing, this bright spot? Is this some piece of technology? Is that why I can never focus on anything that's happening down on my trees? And this here is tree sap. And when I looked inside of it, I noticed that there was a lot going on in there too. So here, you can't deny, you got a nail there, and it's going into something, right? And then you got that right there. So we had a lot going on here. This was no joke whatsoever. Okay, so before I get into the next few pictures that I want to show you that a subscriber sent to me, this was taken just yesterday. Okay, so all this happened over the past couple of weeks. Now, what's really strange is now all the sap is gone. All the pulley systems and cables are gone. All right, there's no more huge chunks of sap. But this branch right here is all eaten away and gone. Okay, like we're going to look at a few more pictures of my trees just being completely shredded. These branches here look more like they were implanted. And I have a strange theory that you'll guys hear. Maybe you'll laugh, and maybe you won't. I don't know. But anything's possible at this time. So look at this thing. Let's see if we could try to bring this out a little bit more. Okay, you see this here? This looks like some sort of sensor of some sort that's attached to this branch that was eaten away by something. There's no question about that. It was stripped because just in the previous image that we looked at of the pulleys and all that, these branches were filled with bark. Okay, and it looks like there's a rope. Let's see here. Okay, going up. A rope or a wire. Okay, my guess it's likely a wire of some sort. I feel this might be a sensor of some type. I'm not 100% sure, but that was there yesterday. Now today there is nothing. That is what is incredible. Now what also is incredible is what I find here inside these that don't look like real branches to me. Guys, I'm going to give you a very bizarre theory of mine. Okay? It's okay to laugh at me. Whatever. I'm not going to worry about you guys laughing at me because, like I said, it's just a theory. All of these insectoids that are all over the trees. Okay? And there's actually even on this, you won't be able to see it, but there is some sort of, maybe if we change the contrast, it'll start to come out. Right here, let's see if we could make them come out a little more for you. Okay, now we got them coming out pretty good. But this guy right here is some other interdimensional being. An insectoid with like an alien gray head. And he appears to be maintaining this. Like he's crawling up and down this faux branch, if you will. And you'll see why I say it's a faux branch in one moment. Because when we go ahead and adjust the lighting on this, let's draw closer. I actually see bug-like faces inside here. I have a strange theory, guys, that these insectoids that I've been recording, and there's this guy right here maintaining, they're actually being held within inside these little cones. And they are being harvested. And there's another one right there. And then they go down. We could even look, they have little faces on them. Okay? And like little insect type bodies. There's an eye, a mouth, an insectoid body. Okay? Let's see if we could lighten this up a little and bring it out some more. If you see what I'm saying there, guys. Okay? It looks like these things are actually a host. As this guy up here is a little harder to see now. But this guy here is maintaining what is a host inside here, which are going to be more of those flying insectoid beings that are hatching all over these trees. But again, getting back to what it was really all about was this sensor right here in the trees on my property, as well as the trees are being eaten away. Now this here, take a look again. Okay? Project Bluebeam is all about cloaking and changing the perception of the world that we see and perceive with our naked eye. Because as I say repeatedly over and over, at best we take in 0.7% or 300 to 800 nanometers within our eyes. The frequency that comes into our eyes and is then translated from our brains into the world that we see and perceive is less than 1%. Now this guy looks like he might even have an eye down here. Or is it this guy that is in charge of this claw? That we don't know. But what we do know is that my entire tree was stripped down to nothing. And then what happened was this. Now this picture here was an accident. I meant to start recording and I accidentally hit the photo button by accident. And then this is what I captured. Look at this thing here. We're doing this together because we're doing the pictures together. But you see some sort of otherworldly being right here. Let's change the contrast a little bit and bring them out. There we go. Can't deny that there's a guy right there with an eye, a big long ear going up. It looks like he has his arm coming down, and he has like this thing with sharp spikes all over it. Okay? And it almost, yeah, I'm not even going to say what looks to be behind him, but it's very bizarre to say the least. And then this thing that he's holding looks like these right here. That's what it looks like, okay? So it looks like we have, and then there's all these odd color formations inside here as well. So it looks like we have some sort of bio-AI technology being used to ultimately strip my trees down to bare wood, is what they're doing. And if we look right here, there's that guy that I was just showing you, and then down here we have that same looking thing that he's holding that I'm saying they're using to strip the trees. How crazy is that? One more time. Here's the guy with the eye. It looks very elfish looking. Those slits for eyes. Arm coming down with some sort of mechanical device that looks like he's holding in his arm that looks exactly like one of these things down here. So is that what is actually stripping my trees completely down? Just like with this claw right here, is that what's stripping my trees completely down to bare wood with no bark whatsoever? That's a question that I've been pondering on, and it's also an answer that I have received. Yes, it is these flying insectoids, and it is this AI bio-intermingled trans biotechnology that is doing this. Now, before we move on, there's two pictures I want to show you from a subscriber of mine named Lisa. I'm very grateful that she sent it in. Okay, this is really cool. This reminds me of the Angels and Demons video that I did, and my friend Sean actually did the work on this. And when he does the work on one of your photos, that's a real privilege because he is the master at modifying images. This looks like a winged creature. Definitely ethereal, perhaps angelic. And it also looks like perhaps another being. Or it's two traveling together, or two actually taking place in a fight. They actually, these things actually battle each other in the skies above that I showed in the previous video, Angels and Demons, and other videos that I have shown. These same entities, they attack each other, and that's because the war is waging on always. So again, here you see a wing, another wing. It looks like just like one of those beautiful winged angelic beings. That's why I'm saying it looks more angelic to me, but it is definitely ethereal. I can't say 100% for sure that it is angelic, but it looks to be, and it also looks to be either riding along with another angelic type being, or these two are partaking in a spiritual battle that is happening within the ether above. And she's from Waco, Texas, so this was an amazing capture. I really am thankful that she shared this. So if you guys have images that you have captured and you'd like to share with me, you could send that to Code Red, that's CODERED 4800 at yahoo.com, and I'll be happy to take a look at them. Let's continue on. So before we get into the footage that you have to watch, guys, this is pretty amazing stuff. But before we get into that, I want to talk about Silent Subliminal Presentation System, U.S. Patent 5159703. The abstract is a silent communication systems in which non-neural carriers and the very low or very high audio frequency range or in the adjacent ultrasonic frequency spectrum are amplitude or frequency modulated with the desired intelligence and propagated acoustically or vibrationally. Therefore, you don't have to hear it. It's a vibration and a frequency. For inducement into the brain, which they match the neocortex. That's where your original thoughts generate. That's why this is called behavior modification technology, typically through the use of loudspeakers, earphones, piezoelectric transducers. The modulated carriers may be transmitted directly in real time or may be conveniently recorded and stored on mechanical, magnetic, or optical media for delayed or repeated transmission to the listener. Well, who's the listener, guys? The listener would be the targeted individual. For delayed or repeated transmission would be if you had a traumatic injury. Let's say you smacked your head really hard in an accident. Then that computer that records that trauma to the brain, and it can repeat those same frequency waves back to your brain so that you feel like you're having that same trauma happen over and over and over again. That's why they call it touchless torture. This is a horrific patent and the most sinister, most diabolical technology ever conceived by the wicked minds of men. Okay? The objects of the invention, accordingly, several objects and advantages of my invention are to provide a technique for producing subliminal presentation which is inaudible to the listeners, yet is perceived and demodulated, decoded by the ear for use for the subconscious mind, which is going to take me right here to U.S. Patent 650-6148B2, which we covered in a video on the Deliverer channel from a video with Richie from Boston. We showed how they pulse these RF signals into the human mind. So people who watch TV, look at the computer. When those RF Wi-Fi signals go into your brain, they are decoded into the subliminal mind, and then you are then behavior modified and controlled. Look at the cell towers. Are any of these things pointing upwards if satellites were the situation? No. They all point outwards. They all point towards the population. Why? Because it is an information weapon as well as for behavior modification and assault frequencies. These are weapons. These are not for your convenience or for anything whatsoever than utter and complete control. That's why in the frequency purge video on the Deliverer channel, when I showed here, I got hit with a free space optical communications laser at 4,793 milliwatts. Okay? Anything above 2 milliwatts is suggested to check regularly based on the card that comes with this here. Okay? Based on the card that comes with this EMF meter. Anything above 2, not 2002, is to check regularly. Not a peak of 4,793. It says normal there because it's at 0.159, which would be in the normal range. Okay? So then when we look at this right here, you can see RF signal. Let's hit play without any sound. Okay, this is the cooking of humanity with EMF radiation. When I first got my EMF detector to start proving to my wife that there were frequencies being pulsed out of our devices, that I was saying for years upon years upon years that I could hear frequencies and feel the pulsing coming out, which were EMF radiation pulsing out of our devices. And she now has the disease to prove it. So here, let's look at RF as I hit play and watch how it pulses. This is them. See that? Jump to 45, then 26. Now it stops at 6.669. Don't tell me they are not broadcasting in our adversary's number. 6.669 for real. EMF is at 0, but radio frequency is subliminal messages being broadcast through a frequency. That's what that pattern was representing, is this right here. So you'll see this continue to pulse and move, and when it jumps to 15, anything above 6 increases the size of the blood vessels to your brain. So look at this, when it peaks out and it jumps to 45 and 26 and 36, that's because they are trying to alter and behave or just psychotronically harass me. So that takes you right back to here. Objects of the invention. B, to provide a technique for transmitting inaudible. That means you can't hear it, which shows exactly what I just showed you right here. Okay? I can't hear 36.59, but my brain certainly will pick it up and perceive it. To provide a technique for producing inaudible. Again, subliminal presentations to which music or other foreground programming may be added if desired. If people realized about these patents, do you think people would go ahead and approve of this technology? Would you want Wi-Fi if they didn't present it as a convenience, but as a way to control the way you behave and think? Okay? So, that's why when they pulse these frequencies up and down, and even broadcast in our adversary's number, they're actually manipulating your behavior and the way your thoughts and behavior patterns are perceived. I was doing some field work for EMFs. Look at it. RF, it just hit 13.34. And where would all this be coming from? Well, all this would be coming from right here. Let's look at this. Because this was what would be called, right here, now I'm being pegged from one of these chips that are installed in one of these devices. This is a directed energy beam saying, there he is. Now we're going to see all sorts of assault frequencies, holographic lasers, free space optical communications. This is what the matrix looks like. Are you ready? Here it is. Boom. This is the matrix. All those things. So one of these beams could be projected into somebody's head and then make them think in a certain way, or go ahead and just walk away from the conversation. And that's why it seems as though people are so evacuated right now. People have been asking if I've noticed people seem to be acting like zombies lately. I couldn't agree more. Zombie is a perfect word for it. And that's because they are now evacuated. They are being taken over and controlled, just like a bumper car when its little metal stick sticks up to the steel railing up top where it's electrified. Well, think of everybody's brain being caught up to these frequencies that are being shot down at us. And what do I mean by being shot down at us? I mean literally, they're being shot down at us. Look at this here from back in 2019. This is the moon. Let's have a look at what's being shot from the moon. Lasers, okay? Free space optical communications. So no matter on what your position is on where the moon is, if it's inside the firmament, outside the firmament, if it's in space, if it's within the Earth plane, okay, it doesn't matter what your belief is. Right here is visible proof of a laser beam being shot from what is the perceived moon, which is actually technology that I feel I've proven pretty well. And then when we look here in the Cloaked Craft video, when I was done recording for the night, as I was walking back home, look what was shooting at me. These are directed energy assault frequencies that were coming from other entities, or the LED light. Look at it right there. We can't deny our eyes. When everything defies your sense of sight, hearing, and everything above, then you start to have to ask yourself, what is the truth and what is lies? Well, the truth is is that we are in an AI control grid matrix for the New World Order. Okay? Now let's look at Neo here and listen to him real quickly when he goes into the machine world, because what we're about to look at is exactly this. They've created a holographic world around us, a behavior modification control grid AI matrix that cloaks in the world that they don't want us to see with the naked eye, as well as they could even holographically project things that they do want us to see with the naked eye. But in this case, we're going to be looking at footage that I captured of biobots, genetically modified trans biobots and bugs and whatnot, just like they show here. Let's listen. I just wanted you to notice all the creeping and crawling things, because that's the world that they're looking to turn us into. Again, that's because our adversary and all of his reptilian companions need to escape judgment. They don't want that fire, but they're going to receive it nonetheless. But you got to give them credit. They are trying their best, and the way they pulled this off so flawlessly is absolutely fantastic. You got to give credit where credit is due. Let's watch. All the creepy crawling things, they created a machine world.
But they're not good, they're not evil. They just don't give a shit about you even in the slightest.
Well, thank you, Mr. Jordy Rose, as we see this giant claw coming out and scraping my trees down. We're about to watch the footage now, and we see this thing with this huge mouth, 2 eyes. I mean, is this one of those Lovecraftian type old ones that he's speaking about? And this thing even looks to have a giant eyeball and like a bird beak. I mean, this truly looks otherworldly if you ask me, as it scrapes all the tree bark off of my trees. So let's go ahead and get started with the footage, guys. You're not going to want to miss this. This is incredible stuff we're about to look at. So let's get started. Okay, here's what I want you to see. Now, first we're going to look at the trees. This is the opposite side of my property. This is how they should look. The bark's nice and dark. The pines are nice and thick. Everything looks good. Okay, trees look good and healthy right here. I live in a wooded area, just in case you didn't realize. Okay, look, see? These are the trees on the opposite side of my property. Look at how, filled they are with pines and everything. Pine needles, pine cones, all the way up. Look at the trunks of them. Very black. Okay. The way they should be. Okay. And then, I don't go too fast. Sorry, guys. A lot of trees back here. Then when I go up to this one, look. They've even, if you just go back to my last vid or two, I show this same exact tree. It's even stripping off all the pine. Look up here. This is what I'm talking about. Look at how everything is eaten off up top and how bare this entire tree, almost the entire tree, at least halfway down. And this tree is well over 200 feet tall, maybe 225 to 250 feet tall. It's stripped, completely bare wood. Let's listen. Pine cones and all the needles and everything off the branches, and these were just more filled up the other day. Just in my latest vid you could look at it. I was just from the video footage was just from like last Friday or Saturday or something. It's just crazy that even look at it all. Look at how stripped it is. What in the world could strip the bark off of a tree like that to where it, like I said, it looks like Danielson came in and just sanded the tree for days on end, and he did one heck of a job. It's all just being shredded off like something's eating it. Well, I have a feeling that I know what's doing it. But, guys, that's just not normal. No, it's not normal, and my feeling was correct. Today is Thursday, the 20th of May. Getting a closer look at this tree bark that has just been stripped clean off my tree. Going up. What possibly could be doing that? Something's just ripping it off, and I'm anxious to see if that's going to be black again tomorrow. Well, let's see what happens for the next day. Okay, as you can see, it's totally stripped. That almost the entire tree. Look at all up here. It's just gone. Something's been chowing it down for lunch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, guys. So I have video clips just from Friday of last week, and it wasn't like that. What's up, guys? I don't know what to say. Got some freaky shit. I just used my Sawzall. You know how hard it was to break down through that, to get down to bare wood like that? It wasn't easy. I had to put some force behind it. This is a brand new blade. A strong Sawzall. Yeah, I had to use some heavy force to push through to get down through that bark. I mean, it was a good 1/4 inch thick at least, and it was very fresh and very sappy. So to have that stripped down to that level was totally mind-bending and unspeakable. I don't even know what to say about it. So, what's up, guys? About 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 22nd of May, 2021. Look, everything came back. For the most part, there was a couple little bare spots, but just about everything looks like it was brought back. Just about everything looks like it was brought back. Whether it's actual real bark or some sort of technology, that I do not know. But let's listen to what I have to say, because I honestly don't remember. I want to show here the trees here. We got the sun shining. Okay, they're not bare. I don't want people saying, you know, it's just a reflection of the sun. You know how people can get. Okay? But I do find very hard to find in that last clip that I was showing you guys of the really super bare spots. Okay, we have, looks like a little one right there. Right here. You see, we got a little bare spot right here. Nothing major, nothing like we saw before. But let's continue to listen. Okay, here it is right here. Goes up to about here. As it goes up. And then where else was there? Thought I had another one over here somewhere. Really hard to see through my viewfinder. There we got another little spot right here. But before, the trees were stripped almost completely. Let's watch. There's the spot right there. So, but the main point of this vid here, is that it there? Is that you can see the trees outside of some sections that just look like they've just been ripped apart. Yeah, like right here. Like the bark has just been ripped off. Like right there, maybe? Guys, honestly, have you ever seen anything eat bark off trees like that? Within like a 12-hour span. I was checking first thing in the morning, then again in the afternoon, again in the evening. This was happening overnight, or early in the morning, or during the day. So as I would go back and check 6-8 hours later, things would be different. Okay. but the normal tree that has that very bizarre structure atop it, again, is not stripped down to bare wood. It looks like we might have a little bit of bare. Yeah, it looks like we have a little bit of bare spot there, but the rest of it is pretty much covered up. Bare wood right there. They're always building up there or something. I'm talking about this spot right here is bare, but the rest of it is covered up. Okay, this is a very sunny day, so you can't say that it was just the reflection of the sun, because look at how bright and sunny it is that day, and you can still see the bark is on the tree. This is very strange, so I'm going to have to go throughout various areas and see, because I know that these things that are like insectoids, they are truly flying all over the sky all day, every day, and every night. As we see one right here, look at it go. Okay, as I stop it, now this is not some bug that is just flying by me. These are the same insectoids that are actually eating the bark off of my trees and stripping them clean. And they're also making little cocoons and hatching within the trees. Now, do I know if they're happening everywhere? No, I don't, because I haven't done the field work. I am going to do the field work. I just haven't done it yet. Okay, I've been real tied up. So there he is. We're going to watch him go back and forth a couple times. You saw how fast he went. Let's back it up just a little couple seconds here so you can see how fast he goes again. Let's watch. All day, every day, and every night. Watch this. See it? Now we go down to about 1%. There we go. Bring it back. Now here's the thing. Is this starts all the way down here. Okay? I'm going to bring it back down. Look over here. Look at the movement over here. Okay? Now I'm going to hit play and watch it rise up out of here. And then see it come back. Okay, now watch, it's going to come in here and then come down the tree. After it makes contact with the trees, it turns white. That's what's so crazy. See it move right through the trees? Okay, now I want you to start looking at this. This was, alright, let me set up the scene here. Alright, this was after all the tree bark was stripped off my trees and then magically put back on overnight. And then I woke up and there was sap literally by the 5-gallon bucket loads hanging off of the branches and on the ground. It was everywhere. And this was just like a little spot, like maybe a 1/4-inch diameter drill looked like it went through it, and all this stuff started pouring out. Let's look and listen, because you're going to start to see insectoids that are actually biobot insects that drill into the wood. They're nano technology. Okay, this is the sap. That's not bird crap whatsoever. I'm just looking at this as it's dripping down. I'm just amazed at what's going on here. I'd never seen anything like this before. Okay, look at this thing dripping down right here. This thing actually forms an eye. An eye. That's how you know this is like AI goo. AI technology. It's even being used to watch me. See it? The eye manifest right there. And then you're going to see a thing come out right here and another type creature block this. This is so tiny right here, guys. Like I said, this would be like a 1/4-inch or maybe a 1/2-inch diameter drill hole. That's what that would be. And this thing formed an eye when I started filming it. See it? I couldn't see it, of course, in my viewfinder. Now look at this thing that hopped out. And it has an eye. Let's continue to look at it. Closer. Right there. Look at the eye on this thing. I could not see this. This is so small of a hole I couldn't even have fit my pinky inside this, okay? This little thing popped out and is staring at me now. And then you're going to see this other thing pop up here and actually block it off. Let's watch. As we see it again, and now you see it shut its eye. Let's back it up just a little touch here. There. Now it shut its eye. Okay? It didn't go inside. It's still there. It just shut its eye. And now it opened its eye. See? Now it opened its eye again. Now watch up here. I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but very soon you're going to see something block this. Okay. Now right here. This is the, however they modified this and added, genetically modified it and turned it into a bug machine. There's an eye right there, and the front of it is actually metallic and made of metal. Let's watch this. And this is some sort of, it's not sap. I thought it was sap. This is actually intelligent. It starts forming all sorts of faces within it. It reflects my face. Various sections start to look like little eyeballs in themselves. And then you'll see this thing blinking and opening its eyes. Let's watch this guy right here that you see, this metallic piece. Okay, watch that. Okay, look. See its eye opening up there? Okay. And now this is starting to take on the image of me standing there. Look at its eye. Do you see an eye here? Now do you see the front of this thing's nose? This is what drilled into this little 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch diameter hole. Is this insectoid type creature that is partially robotic. It's likely from another plane of existence. It is not of this realm. I do not believe in the slightest. I do believe that this was brought in from another dimension. Look at the eye right there. And look at the metal nose. And it almost looks very sharp, like an anteater almost. Okay? Let's watch. It's gonna blink and everything. Now let's look up at here. Okay? You got little things inside there. Now let's watch here as this gets closed up. It already did. Now look at here. No more eye on it. Let's see if one does come back. As it is. Look at the eye starting to form on that. This is intelligent matter. It's some sort of goo. And there is this little insectoid that has a sharp metal mouth that is mounted onto its face with an eye. Continue to watch it. It's even going to shut its eye in a second. Right there. Okay? Right here. Let me hit pause. Look at how sharp that looks. I have no doubt whatsoever that this is what drilled inside this tree. Okay? Right now, its eye is like half shut. And look at this matter. This goo that is coming out of this. This is not sap. It's actually reflecting my face as I'm standing there looking at it with my camera and just filming it because I didn't want to get too close to it. I had to be a couple of feet away at least. There you go. Look at that. Now we see its eye, its sharp front pointed nose. Okay? This is a insectoid that has been turned into a genetically modified organism that is robotic. It has eyeballs, and it drilled into this. And it looks like there's something even inside there. It's just absolutely mind-bending to me. Okay, look at this thing here. Well-defined. There, right there, it just shut its eye. Do you see that? Its eye just shut, but it still has that sharp pointy nose, and I think it's going to open its eye again. There it is! The eye opened again. It blinked. It's alive. It's alive! Just like this goo right here that's reflecting me. That's my face. I mean, I don't quite look like that, but it's reflecting a face through this intelligent matter. This is AI. And we just saw this thing's eye open. Maybe we'll see it close again. I don't know. But it's just hanging out there, chilling. Maybe it's tired. Maybe it had a long night's work. But you could even see its eye moving as it's turning and looking around. There we go. It just shut its eye again. It just shut its eye again. And you still see the sharp pointy nose. Let's see if it opens eye again. Now it's really shut tight. It's probably ready for sleep after that long night's work. Okay, so we're looking at that tree. It looks like something climbs up and down it or something. Okay, what I'm talking about, look at this tree here, how it's completely bare. This is a completely separate tree on another day. You probably don't notice it right now, but there is something right here. An insectoid. One of those bots, Locust bots. It has metallic parts. You could see a metallic part hanging out here. I noticed it without even using my camera. I was able to see something metallic in the trees. But everything was so blurry from the technology they used to blur it out. Let's watch this thing, and then it appears there's somebody here or something here trying to make it move or get out of the way, and another Locust bot, if you will, comes out from behind the tree. But you gotta watch. Let's watch. You'll see its eye opening and closing. You're gonna see its mouth opening and closing. You're gonna see it blinking and looking at us. Right now it looks slightly turned. It's got like a dark part to its head here. You'll see it turning its head back and forth. Let's watch. And before I saw something like metallic in there. Is that it? There it is. You heard what I said. I said I saw something metallic in there. And that was before I actually looked at the video. Here's a metallic arm coming out. Okay. This is its funky looking head. You got two antennae coming up, and it's looking at us, and its mouth is open. And right here would be its body. This is what is eating our trees. Let's continue to watch. There it is again, with its mouth open. You can see that arm coming down. It's like curled up. It looks almost metallic. And here's the rest of its body. Very insect type. This does not look very much like it has a lot of robotic part to it. This looks very biological, to be honest. You can see an eye right here, an antennae up here. It looks to have something covering it. Perhaps part of the tree that it is lingering upon. Let's continue to watch. There it is again. Now we see one claw there. One, not claw, but one of those long legs there. One long leg there. Okay, so we have two like metallic looking long legs. And then that long body with this head, eye, two antennae. What an incredible capture. There it is again. You got one, you got two, you got the long body, the big head, and the two antennae. This one looks to be much more adult-like compared to the previous ones that we have seen in the previous videos. Is that it? There it is right there. Watch it turn its head back and forth. Might even be one of those. Do you see it? Watch it turn its head back and forth. Right now, it looks like it's facing the tree, and then it keeps turning its head back and forth because I feel there's something right here trying to get it to move because they know I am filming it. Locust bots or something. think that's what it is. See, I knew even what it was before I had a chance to look at it. Look at how blurry it starts to get. The last thing in the world they want you to do is see things like that claw and that Lovecraftian creature. So it just doesn't want to leave. It looks like something's here trying to get its attention to make it take off, but I'll be uploading it down here clearly on the tree bark. So please subscribe to my backup channel, The Deliverer. It'll be in the description box. That thing because who knows if I get right suspended, there. I'll wind up this there. Thing much right here. Here's that insectoid that's chowing down on a tree bark, and you're going to see something here almost like pushing at it or trying to like block it or push it out of the way. It's amazing. Let's watch. Okay, watch right here. See, it starts like trying to swat it out of the way. I put it in slow motion. Now we're going to see it turn its head towards us there you go. Now look at its mouth wide open. One eye and it just blinked. It blinked again. Mouth wide open, the mouth just closed. Something's coming out from behind this way. It just blinked again. Mouth open. Mouth is wide open. It blinked again. It keeps opening and closing its mouth. See that? And it starts to get more and more blurry because for whatever reason, these things are very hard to focus on. Do you see it blinking its eye over and over again? As that thing starts to, whatever's right here is like swatting at it. It's like, get out of here or something. I'm just saying. I don't know. That's speculation. Okay. Here it is again. One eye there. Mouth wide open. Okay, got that metallic looking leg or arm or whatever it is coming out there, and there's its insectoid body with two antennae right there. You can't miss that mouth wide open and staring at me. Okay, there it is again, mouth wide open, one eye, insectoid type body with a leg like a claw type leg coming down, very metallic looking. That's why I said I see something that looks metallic in the trees. See it opening and closing its mouth. And to me, it looks like there's something here trying to shove it out of the way. And it just doesn't want to go. It's too busy having a good time eating that tree bark. And then something comes around from behind. And now it starts to get way too blurry because they use technology.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day.